How are you?
I'm alright, how are you?
All right, mate.
It can be done. That will be the message from Tom Youngs and everybody associated with this club.
The engine of theirs, and Tom Youngs is pushed around at the back. And it's a captain's contribution for Tom Youngs. And the skipper bags the bonus point for Leicester Tigers.
Youngs is sent on his way.
Big day. The day that we all know comes to people at some point.
You get old, mate, on the scrap heap you go, so it's time.
Well, we'll take you down memory lane, mate. I think it's safe to say that you deserve to go through memory lane. You've given everything to the club, so let's talk about some of the key moments. So, obviously, growing up, tell me about your connection to the club and what you knew about it before joining.
Well, the quickest connection is obviously Dad played here, and that was probably the quickest connection to it. Didn't talk a lot about it, but he always talked very highly of Leicester, his time at Leicester, talked about players. Dino used to come to the farm a few times. We'd come up and watch, as you know, come and watch the game. And he'd always be watching the Leicester on TV, and you always understood what Leicester Tigers meant to him, which then fed into us, or to me. And I suppose, you know, to think that you were going to play for Leicester Tigers is miles away at that age of 6, 7. You're just bubbling along in life as it is, and then slowly as you play at your local rugby club and you get selected for trials and stuff like that, and then eventually Leicester come knocking and you go in the academy and suddenly you've got an opportunity of actually becoming a Tiger. But the connection there has always been strong from day dot, really.
The process of obviously joining the academy has changed a lot since we first started.
God, massively.
So who was the person that saw you and got you involved? Obviously, the catchment area is obviously where we're from.
I think obviously Dusty Hare did a lot then. Andy Key was in the academy, Mike Harrison as well. But the big thing was I was in Norfolk, and to then get me up here was difficult. So Dad used to drive us up a few times, once a month or a couple of times a month to do things. Played a couple of games, under 14 games up here for Leicester. And then eventually, once I got my driving licence, I could then come up. I went to Brooksby College, which is obviously now, where it's funny how now that's where the academy is sort of based a lot more and used a lot more. But I went to Brooksby College for a year and spent having a bed there and studying a bit on agriculture, and then coming back and forth to the academy, and that's how it all sort of started.
So you get your foot in the door, and then talk about those. Obviously, you did it with Coley, and there's a lot of guys. Dodgy, obviously, started the club and went to Bedford and things. But talk to me about those early academy memories and what you have from that.
Oh, brilliant. I think what the academy does very well is that you come here wanting to play for Leicester, but then for me, they embedded the passion of the club and what it means to put a Leicester Tigers shirt on. And they gave me the vision of driving towards a first team shirt. But alongside that, to have done that with so many people who have then gone on and done a first team shirt as well, like the Crofties, the Smithies, Coley, obviously same age, did age group stuff together, literally everything together, and we've, you know, I was obviously in a different position then, but now ended up finishing the career right next to him, and a good mate of mine, you know, as I say, and that you've got those special connections. You can't buy those connections. You can't buy the love for the club, the love for the shirt. You know, that's inbred in you from earlier than that for me, but when you come in the doors, that is inbred in you. And that's why you see the young boys now playing Freddie Stewart's, JVP, you know, they're the future in some regards. They understand, having come through the doors at an early age, for how much passion they've got for the first team shirt.
Absolutely. I think also, you know, the guys you list there have been incredible servants for Leicester, Crofty, Smithy, obviously Coley still going, yourself. But I think also people don't realise is just how many people are in the academy, but how many people don't make it, and you've got to be a certain way inclined. So maybe just touch on that mindset that separates a young 16-year-old turning up to day dot when there's a squad of 30 that only actually 5 lads end up going the full hog.
I think one thing I do hate is young guys may come through the doors and then suddenly feel they're entitled to put a first team shirt on. You're not entitled to anything. You have to earn everything. And the sieve gets harder and harder. You know, I always think like your pan, whatever, and the sieve and the stuff drops through, and it's then comes in. Are you skilled enough? Is your mentality good enough? Do you look after yourself? Are you professional enough? And it just comes more and more cutthroat, as you say then. And then suddenly, when you're 18, 19, you may have a little bit of a talent, and you get exposed to a bit of first team rugby. You play. You may make a few mistakes, okay, and that's all right because you're 18, 19. But when you come 21, that's not all right, and you're probably not good enough, and you may have to drop down a league or whatever it is. You know, that's how cutthroat it is. Then you throw in the world market. You know, you throw in then that Leicester can go and get anyone from anywhere in some regards, and fill the squad with that. So it is tough, and you know, you should always be proud if you've made it through those things and do get to wear a first team shirt. And obviously, when you wear it once, you want to wear it more times, and the dedication comes more and then. And you know, you should never be afraid of hard work or a coach telling you to get better than this. Or failing at something, you know, that will only drive you forward if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You can either use it as an excuse, or you can go, actually, yeah, I want to get better.
No, totally. And I think, obviously, one of the ways that you're talking there is going to that next step and harnessing and being a certain way inclined to making sure you do make that step. Now, first team rugby at that age, you know, squads were bigger. It wasn't as easy to do. So quite often, when you're on the fringe, you'd go on loan. Now, you obviously went on a spell to Bedford for 2 seasons with Coley, and Dodgy, and a few. So, still as a centre, of course. So, talk about that, because that's when you probably started getting senior rugby to it, Drew.
I think there's an element like we were playing academy games, second team games, no sort of league in them really, in some regard. And then suddenly you went on loan, and you were in a room full of men, and it was their livelihood. They may be working on the side or whatever, but then you're involved in a club, and suddenly a losing bonus point sort of meant something massively, or a winning, you know, scoring 4 tries meant something huge to the club because you're at this point in the league and whatever. You then start to get a real understanding of like teamness, togetherness, of trying to get the best out of a game or anything, and you understood like it suddenly meant something to you. As I say, like the second team game, you didn't know who you were playing with. It was all a bit different. Academy you kind of knew, but you knew when you went to Bedford there's a squad, a smaller squad, and you get to play. I loved my loan days because when you come in the academy here, you get your kit washed, you get all these, you know, perks and stuff like that. There's more now. But when you went on loan, you were suddenly back to normal. You had to wash your own kit. You had to get yourself there on time. You had to be prepared, right? You know, make sure professionally you were on it. Throw in then that we were probably training with the first team on the Tuesday through the day, and then going there at night. You know, it's a tough day, but it only set us up, say for me and Coley, set us up to be better now, or to be better when we were 20. We'd experienced that. We'd gone through those tough times of being knackered going to the training, but got on with it.
That big in.
You get rewarded with your first start for the club as a 12. That was against Northampton. Your first Premiership start was against London Irish at Madejski Stadium. It was around Christmas time. I remember being there with Mum and Dad coming to watch. You got injured, unfortunately. Yeah. But obviously that first time you got to wear the shirt in a big game. Paddy Howard was the coach, right?
Paddy Howard, coach, and Cockers forwards coach.
So you tell us about that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Like Paddy came to me about 2 weeks before, said, look, you're going to play Boxing Day against London Irish. You know, and like suddenly you're like, oh my, I actually am going to actually play for the first team. And there's people in there like the Martin Corries, Andy Good, for example, all these guys who you sort of you did look up to, and you wanted to perform, and you got the opportunity. Unfortunately, I got injured. And I remember laying on the floor and in a bit of pain. I remember Martin Corries leaning over me and telling me, you're not going off yet. And I was like, no, I'll be all right. I'll be all right. So I got up and played on for a bit longer, stupidly. But yeah, I couldn't finish the game off, unfortunately. But it was a dream come true. And as I said, it just gave me that bug even more to want to wear the shirt more and more.
I'll just pick up on that. Like, obviously, when you started out myself, you had some real big figures in terms of those experienced guys like Corrie, like your Mudos,
Benny
like
Kays,
Geordie,
yeah.
your Benny Kays, Julian White, the list goes on. Incredible people, really. And then how much, just whilst we're on that, like how much did you feel responsibility towards your latter stage of your career to be able to give the support like they give to us for these young lads now?
Yeah, massive. That was my goal, really, in some regards. As I got older, I wanted to pass on every bit of information I had to these guys, to these young boys. And it didn't even have to be in the same position. It was anyone. I wanted them to understand how much the club meant to me, how much it should mean to them. I wanted to pass that on, because as you say, those guys have passed that on to me or to us. You want to pass that on. You want to keep the club alive. You want to keep it like you put a shirt on, it's big. The Dosser Smiths would talk to us about it, like huge things like that. You want to put it, the shirt's not magical. It's not a magic shirt, but when you put it on, you've got to do something. You've got to deliver for the badge. End of.
Yeah, I think that's what makes, we've never played for anyone else, but I think that's what makes the club so unique in terms of its fan base, in terms of the players, in terms of the history. It is special, it is unique, and it does have something about it as a presence with
Massively,
that shirt.
and it should never be lost.
No, and I don't think it will be. So doing that, you get your first exposure of that, then you're still a centre at this point, which many people wouldn't, forget. But I just want to touch on, so I've played a fair few games in the A-League, but one memory stands out in particular for me in the A-League. Well, there's two memories in the A-League, which was obviously Monday night games.
Yeah.
Used to be a really competitive league with great crowds. It was a chance for us youngsters to showcase what we can do. But you need to tell everyone about the warm-up. And this could have been the defining moment why you moved to hooker.
Obviously as a centre you're meant to kick. I wasn't really a kicking centre, but I used to try and sort of do a few kicks in the warm-up, see what the 9-eye was looking like.
See what the shin could do.
Yeah, see what the shin could do. Anyway, I got chucked the ball, booted this ball, and it was a lovely spiral, and it flew into the crowd, obviously into the seating area, and it hit a chair and bounced off and smashed this woman in the face and broke her glasses. I felt dreadful. Terrible. She might be listening, I don't know, but apologies for that.
This is your chance to say sorry to that
sorry,
poor
but
lady.
I did try and go over and say sorry, but the ambulance had to be dealt
14
with.
years ago.
I know. Bless her heart. So,
It's just it's one of those strange moments where you're watching this ball go and it's like, oh no. But anyway, that's history for you. I want to touch on Leicester's rivalry with Wasps when we first coming through. And then playing them in the A-League in the final, when we played away and at home.
Yeah. The away one was just a brawl, wasn't it?
It was. Smithy got filled in.
Yeah.
Yep.
He did.
Got proper filled in.
Yeah,
he
was shouting for help.
He was.
No, we did. We had. There was some proper tough old games as we played over there. I remember actually. They scored. And there was a huge fight kicked off, and everyone was like, "Right, everyone calm down." Everyone calmed down. And I was like, and I completely lost it at this point. And we kicked off, and they lifted. And I'm out of position. I'm playing centre, and they lifted a pod up, and I've just took the whole pod out in the air, and it just went off again. I got sin binned, and I remember. Graham Roundtree, because he was carrying water, he was like, "What are you doing, kid? What have you done?" I told everyone to calm down. He was like skipping around. Anyway, but yeah. And then we played them at home, didn't we? And I think we had I think the plan was to have a massive punch up right at the beginning of the game, I think. So
how the game has changed.
How the game has changed.
It was. I remember that. And I forgot about the kick-off, and then
Yeah.
you taking it. And I think actually the bloke was George Skivington.
I think it was.
So we obviously ended up joining Leicester.
And laughing about it.
Being a great bloke. So all in good. But that was the rivalry there.
Yeah.
Then one of my biggest memories with you is obviously that EDF Cup game against Bath away.
First time we started together.
First time we started together.
Should never.
Your memories of that?
Oh, as he played in the centre then, head taped up, probably 21 mil studs in down there. I'm the only centre to wear 21 mils in my boots. No, look, again, that was, we'll touch on it later on, but I feel like this is where Leicester's getting to now. That old Leicester's then was, it was a resilient squad. It didn't matter who put the shirt on, you were putting everything into it. And we went down to Bath, where they threw a first team out. We threw a very mixed side. I remember Benny Kay was playing that game, didn't he? He played.
He did.
Yeah, he did. He was probably the only real senior guy out of it.
Yeah.
And we ended up winning, didn't we? And it was we tackled our hearts out basically down the wreck. They had a really good side out, and again, it was a fantastic memory. We've got a picture of it as well, me and you there, and it was great in the old blue shirt as well. But yeah, it was actually, funny enough, I've got that blue shirt framed. So I've got that as 12 and then another shirt as 2. Yeah.
The transition.
Yeah, transition, yeah.
Me and Coley actually were laughing about that game. I don't know if you can remember. Well, first we were laughing about Rave, who was basically, we got a guy that was on loan and he came in for this one game Rave, and he used basically that whole game as highlight reel, but obviously he ran down the wing and the highlight just cut just before he got absolutely buried in touch.
Knocked the ball on you.
And then Coley reminded me, can you remember Vesti? We were trying to clear our lines and Vesti did a pea grubber and Madden just picked it up and scored.
Sam Vesti.
Just ridiculous, some of the stuff, but that's one of my favourite.
That was a great game.
Will be one of my favourite.
Definitely.
Because of who they had and who we had and doing that. I don't want to ignore England Sevens because you obviously did a bit of that as well, which kind of the modern day hookers changed no end, and I think that's probably what allowed you to change positions from 12 to hooker, but just. Going on there again and just your bit of experience of that.
Again, very, very good. Like, short games. Whoever invented sevens, like 2-day tournament, and then let's make the final 10 minutes each way. Jesus, it's hard enough at 7. But again, doing skill set under fatigue, and actually the other one I'd say is like the darkness you'd go into in a game, like how painful it was. Your lungs are screaming at you, telling you to your mind's telling you to stop, and you're still pushing through. So actually, I think it was a huge experience for me. Like, I did enjoy my sevens. I never made Hong Kong. I pulled my quad. I played at Bedford, pulled my quad. I was gutted. But yeah, I played some good tournaments, enjoyed it, and met some good people doing it. And I think it's all part of my journey. And I just say that was 2 things. I say the skill set under huge amounts of fatigue, and then being able to stick in the fight when it was horrible. Yeah,
you're pretty good at that. So you obviously go from centre. You get the opportunity to move to hooker. You're not probably getting as much opportunities at centre. I think the club signing and Alan coming in.
Yeah, Alan, right? He came
coming in. So you're probably in a bit of a moment where you're thinking, right, where do I sit in the squad? So whose idea it was? Who approached you? Because you speak to any professional player and they said, right, you're back and you're going to move to hooker. They just wouldn't do it. But you being you, decided no, that's a great idea. I'm going to do that. But please, from
my experience, like, I'll be bluntly honest. I had hit the ceiling with my centre ability. I was a ball carrying centre. I wasn't a skilled centre, and I think that position started to change. Like, yes, you want to get across the game line. That's what I'd deliver. I would tackle hard and do all those things and run hard. Heineke Meyer came in, obviously new coach. Just say fresh approach. And then I was on the bench in the first game of the season against Gloucester and came on and played. And then as the season went on, he just said, look, like, so I've been watching me for pre-season, through the season. So I was like, I played a second team game out here actually, to be fair, and got an almighty fight, got red carded. And then I saw him the next day and I thought he was going to, bollock me. But he didn't. He was like, I think you should move to hooker. Random thing to say. He's like, I think I've watched you enough now. I think you've got the mentality to do that, and I think you will go far. He sort of said to me, have 2 weeks to think about it. And I spoke to a few people, spoke to Shoots and spoke to Coley, and it's not easy thing. Well, it's not an easy thing to do, but it's really hard for those guys to sort of say yes or no. But ultimately, it's my decision, and sat with Cockers, and I suppose everyone was a bit sceptical of it, but I was clear that I was like, do you know what, I want to give this a go. I really want to give it a go. I love the physicality of the game. I enjoy that. I wanted to go, and that's what I did, and I just threw everything at it, and I loved it. I think it was the best thing I've ever done, to be fair.
Yeah, I think for people to truly understand that's like, imagine having a good job, really good steady job. You could go other ways with your job, but then some turn around and go, actually, you can better that job, but you're going to go all the way from the bottom to the apprenticeship again. And you've spent the best part of 5 years building up, and they're going, right, you can go higher than where you are now, but you're starting an apprentice. And I think people don't really understand like what a ballsy call that is to make that, because, people could be comfortable and go, no, do you know what, I'm a centre, I'm not moving, and I'll move clubs and I'll do that or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
maybe I didn't think it through enough. Maybe I was just like, yeah. No, like it's.
I think you're always going to do it. It's just in your mindset.
Yeah.
And I think but I just wanted to get people to understand that's just the significance of that decision, you know, because it's not something that many people would make.
And it was tough. It was tough. And you know, it took a long time. Like scrummaging was easy, throwing was hard. Just adjusting in the game as well, of understanding where you've got to be. Like the fitness had to change, different type of fitness. So yeah, I trained as hard as I could, really, and you know, I'd be at Nottingham. You know, I went into the gym, basically bulked up a bit, did loads of fitness, tried to change that, then went to Nottingham, and I would train there early morning because they'd always be a 9 o'clock start, and then they'd all be finished by about 11. Then I'd come back to here, either train outside or I'd do my weights, and so. A lot of times I wasn't finished till really late, as you know. Cause
I was living with you, and I think that, you know, everyone always says, oh, you know, what gets you the result of the weekend, or what the hard work. Like you did what you did through incredible hard work.
Yeah.
But people see a snippet on 80 minutes the weekend. Yeah. But again, that's not their fault. But there's so much dedication and hard work that goes with it, and I saw obviously firsthand when I was living with you. I
think on that, I wanted to make Nottingham my club as well. I knew if I got anyone who does go on loan in the Premiership, young guys do, I said, make it your own club, because it's if you want to get to where you want to get to and play for your first team side, whoever it is, or the highest you can do, you have to dedicate yourself to that. You can't be, I'm too big for I'm too big for that. You dedicate yourself, you're 100% in, okay, and then that will give you, if you become the best player in that side, one of the best players in the Championship, you will then get the stepping stone to go up. Like one of my proudest moments actually was I got Players Player of the Year by Nottingham. Like, so that showed me how much I'd thrown into it. And like, I was missing line-outs, I was awful at times, but they saw that I was in it, I was dedicated, and I threw myself around.
I wanted to just bring in Glenn Delaney, obviously, because again, you know, the obviously relationship that the club has with Nottingham is a really strong one.
Yeah.
Put out on loan because you needed game time. Someone needed to be willing to go, I'm taking this 12 to move to hooker. And so just about the influence of Glenn, because...
He's brilliant, mate. He's such a... Glenn Delaney, positive man, great bloke, a lot of time for him. And he gave me the chance. You know, ultimately, they were short of a hooker or two, and I went in there and threw everything. But he helped me. He kept, you know... like, Nick Rouse was there, Craig Hammond, who's obviously now coaches Nottingham.
Yep.
Build that relationship. These guys helped me no end. Sam Raven, you know, the list goes on. Matt Parr obviously was here, he was there. You know, they helped me so much, and they I can't thank them enough for that, because they brought me in. I threw myself into it, but also they helped me, you know, massively. And
So then, obviously, 2 years there, and your progression couldn't be ignored. So you obviously then came back to Tigers, and your loan spell ended. So who got you back, and how did that conversation go? When you got back, where did you see yourself fitting in, and where did the club see you?
Cockers obviously was coach then, you know. So he pulled me back, said, you know, you're playing well, so come back. And George Shoots was number one. Also, I will say actually, George Shooter and Meth and Davis helped me a lot as well in my transition. I will just say that as well. They were fantastic with me and helping me in every opportunity. But Meth had left by then, and it was Shoots, Rob Hawkins, and then me as third choice. And Cockers brought me back for pre-season. He was brilliant with me. He made it real hard. He made sure that those guys were swapping in and out, and I was doing every single rep. But I wanted every single rep, because I needed to get better. I wasn't good enough, and I needed to get better and better. And that's so, you know, he did that. And that season was a bit up and down. I played a few games here and there. I had a back injury, so I was out for about 3 months, and then
Well, it finished that season, which was 11-12 season. You finished with
playing Quins in the final.
Playing Quins in the final, which obviously we narrowly missed, but that gave you a.
Well, we played the semi-final against Saracens here, didn't we? It was a great game. I didn't get on, actually. I was on the bench. Shoots played brilliantly, tackled his heart out, unbelievable. And then the final, played the final, and then I got on for about 30 minutes, and that was unbelievable. At Twickenham as well, Obviously we lost, but it was nice to sort of step out on the ground and have that opportunity there.
On the back of that, you end up getting the call up to tour South Africa.
Yeah.
Which we go at the end of 2012 in the summer tour to South Africa.
Yeah.
And then, so I guess at that point, is this where you start thinking, okay, like, one, the moves paid off, and two, like, let's see where I can go?
I think I was still like, I'm not good enough. I felt like things were coming into place and probably going quicker than I thought, but I still had so much to do. I still needed to get better at throwing and other bits of the game, and just wanted to be better and better. So to go on tour with England with the great players who were about, and they took a big squad, and that was great. It was exposure to England training, to players around the country all together. So I really enjoyed it, and touring South Africa as well was a great place to tour, as you know. I loved that, and again, I think 3 weeks over there, and again I felt that improved my career as well. I felt that Simon Hardy, who was my throwing coach, he was over there and I threw with him every day. I remember being on the beach once with him and doing he used to hold this thing up, which everyone used to take the mick out of, but he said you've got to hit it 10 times, and the amount of times we got to 8 or 9 and then missed the 10th one, we were there for 2.5 hours to do that. Fair play to him, like sticking in it until I hit 10, but I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I didn't go to South Africa, if Stuart Lancaster hadn't selected me to take me over there.
No, of course, and I think one thing I will recognise or acknowledge is, guys like Simon Hardy and everyone like that, but coaches will give everything for you if you're willing to give everything back.
True,
and I think again it comes back to that. What's allowed yourself to have such a decorated career is the fact that there's hard work, and people will give. If people give as much to you as you give to them, and you were willing. That's the thing. Some people just aren't willing to do that.
No.
So you come back from that tour. We obviously have some time off. You get married.
Yep,
get married that summer, don't you?
Yep.
And then season starts again, and then autumn international comes around, and you're starting hooker, and you play all 4 tests, but your first games against Fiji in 2012. So, I mean, quite remarkable, really, from academy as 12 to then transition to hooker to like nailing it, and then all of a sudden you went on a tour, got a little taste of it, and then boom, autumn 2012, it all takes off.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit just before that when Cockers told me in pre-season you're going to start 6 games. You're going to start 6 games, and played Quins here into the 3rd game, and we were in this bottom left right hand corner over here, and time was up really, probably about 30 seconds on the clock, got a line out, and I missed it. And we didn't lose at home and we lost at home, and I felt pretty bad about that, and I thought, well, he's not gonna, that's me done. I'll be on the bench, I'm not playing next week. And he just said to me, don't worry, I told you 6, you're gonna play. And that filled me with the most massive, huge confidence shot that was. And off I went, and then, as you say, then I ended up, getting selected for the England Autumn Internationals and getting capped against Fiji and experiencing that with you. As you say, it's crazy how it all comes together sometimes, and things can accelerate very quickly suddenly. And awesome. It was just amazing. Yeah.
I think Cockers is fair play to him, because I think many coaches can be quite reactional, but I think Cockers has thrown plenty of paper bags and hurricanes to understand you get wrong sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I got to get on. He was brilliant. He was my academy coach, and I've got a huge amount of time for the man. We'd have our arguments, we'd have a square up here and there, and
he loves it.
Yeah, he loved it. But fair play to him to sticking to his guns on that one, because that did give me a huge shot of belief, I suppose. That
I just want to follow on with Cockers actually, because he is someone that we both owe a great deal to. DOR, we had huge success under him.
Yeah.
He's a top bloke, Cockers, and he loves this club. Well, I mean, we all love this club, but that bloke's another level in terms of what Leicester means to him. So. Yeah,
and that passion, again, he handed that over to us, didn't he, in some regards? So I had him as my academy coach, and then first team coach. He used to talk, in these changes, mate, he could deliver a speech sometimes, couldn't he? And he made sure you knew what was expected of you when you put that shirt on. Yeah. Owe a lot to him for, as you say, he was the one who sort of nurtured us along, really.
No, he does. We both owe a lot to Cockers. I think to sort of, and then obviously 2012, 2013 season, and I think I'll just rattle these out to your embarrassment, but 2012-13, obviously you got capped in that autumn. You were Leicester's first choice hooker. You were Players' Player of the Year. You were Premiership Player of the Year. You were shortlisted for England Player of the Year. You then went on a Lions tour. You played in all 3 Lions tests, and you won the Premiership with Tigers, beating obviously Northampton Saints. Quite an incredible season, really.
Yeah, not a bad year that, was it, really? Yeah. But with all that, mate, I wouldn't have done that without good people around me, without good coaches, good teammates, playing a good side. So, I think, take it, but there was a lot of hard work from other people as well to help me do that.
Amazing. Lions tour.
Yeah.
There was obviously a good Tigers contingent that went on
that. Yeah, it was. Yeah, great.
Best tour you've been on, or just where would you rank that?
Oh yeah, it was fantastic, wasn't it? Yeah, like with full family over there as well. It was magical, wasn't it? And to win the Test series as well was brilliant. I've got very fond memories of that tour. How special it was, the following the crowd, fans. It was just fantastic. Yeah, dream come true. So actually, more than it wasn't. We never dreamt about it because I never thought it would actually happen. So,
it was. It's one for we can have many drinks over and laugh about and talk about and relate to. So, like the rise has been once you came back has been pretty fast. Then, obviously, 2014 is obviously professionally you're flying, but it's obviously when Tiff first got diagnosed.
April the 14th, 2014. Yeah, tough. I don't get rattled. I don't get knocked down very often, but I felt like someone had whacked a baseball bat, but took my legs away. So, yeah, that was tough, and wasn't an easy time that at all. I didn't go on the England tour. I stayed back to look after Tiff, and it's. You look back on that, and I remember the phone call. I remember every bit of that, mate. That is tough. Yeah. And then it's been a battle since then. Really.
It certainly has. Of course, we will remember that. I think how do you balance? Because you've got huge things happening away from the club. Yet for me, you still came in every day. You still trained every day. I don't remember you missing anything. You played every weekend you were available to play. So you had this pure dedication to what you were doing and above and beyond dedication to what you were doing outside in terms of the support and everything you're doing that. But just that, how you were able to do that, I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know if you'll be able to describe
I don't know if I could. Yeah, it was. But I also needed it as well to keep going. I think that was the other thing. Like, I suppose the way I operate is if there's a challenge, I will try and defeat the challenge as much as I can. So, mate, there's you probably don't know half the stuff, but like I had to take Tiff to hospital some days on a early Saturday mornings or whatever it is, and then I wouldn't get with Maisie as well, dealing with Maisie Tiff, trying to get Tiff to hospital. It'd be 4 o'clock in the morning, get home 6, haven't slept all night, and then get Maisie sorted out and stuff like that. And I would then obviously Mum would come up, or Tiff's mum would come up, look after Maisie, and I'd come to the game and play. But I wouldn't tell anyone because I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want an excuse.
No.
It was either I'm going to go out and play, or everyone's going to feel sorry for me. But I just wanted to go and play. But I think Tiff spurred me on as well. I think there's the way she's been resilient about things and stuff like that gave me energy as well. But I tell you, there were tough times. There really were, and I suppose the club was going through a tough spot then as well. And I just stuck to it really. I wouldn't let anything crumble away really. Just stuck with it.
I think that whole from 14 to 17 really is, to be honest, is a bit of a haze. Like for me, God knows what it's like for you, but like obviously I remember playing club struggling, outside of our profession, it's all a bit of a blur, to be honest with you. But you obviously you were then also captain at 2016. So it speaks wonders of what you are as a character to be able to do that and captain, because again, captaincy isn't just rocking up on a Saturday, speaking to the ref, doing a coin toss, and then deciding whether you kick for the corner, scrum or post. Yeah. There's a lot more to it than that. Yeah. So who asked you to do it? How did you feel? And I suppose in many ways rugby was your safe haven, and that distraction of being in a team environment, going out train, then sort of empty yourself doing that, then go home. But that was obviously an extra thing to then bring on. Who spoke to you about it? How did you feel about it?
Well, Cockers obviously spoke to me about it, and do you know what? I never thought I'd be a captain material, I suppose. I never really sort of thought like that. And then he said, "You want to do it?" And I jumped at the opportunity. Why would I not want to do it? I think being captain will make you a better person. I think you'll get a more understanding of a team, individuals, because you've got to tune in with individuals of how they operate and how to get the best out of them. So yeah, I loved it. It was tough because things were falling apart all over the place. Really, we would coaches in, coaches out, and my job was to keep a squad of 40 players together as much as I could. And you've been in those chats when I used to pull everyone in and talk to the whole team about things, and it was difficult, and we were losing games and Tiff's in hospital, or it was just at times relentless, but still got through it. There's some tough times.
Did your love of the club because of your love of the club it always made it like almost more determined that we're going to get through this?
100%. Never give up on anything. So in my life, so I'm not going to give up on the club. I knew it's such a great club that the wheel always turns to the good eventually, mate. You just got to hold on as tight as you can and do what you can do in that moment to try and get it to move. But yeah, like I always believe that it would pull itself through. It would, and I didn't think it would take as long as it did, if I'm honest, but it did, and that's what it took. But it's a far better place now. But yeah, it was as you were in it. Coley was in it. A lot of boys were in it, and you all did the same. You all stuck by it and kept going. But God, it was tough.
No, totally. And I think I look at many sports team, and you look at it, and a lot of people go, every sports team goes through that, and maybe they do, but they don't have to. And I felt at times maybe we went through it longer than we needed to.
Yeah.
But what's so pleasing is now we're in a position where, obviously you're watching now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I love it.
And it's brilliant, and it makes it worth that early success to that. And if dark days to now, it's like you appreciate it more than probably we actually did the first time when we had success because that's all we knew.
And I like, if I've played 1% in that, then I'm a happy man.
You've played more than 1%.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Like, if I've done a bit in that, then I'm a very happy man of making sure Leicester's back to where it should be.
It would be wrong if I didn't talk about front row characters, and you've played with many. So, I mean, if I straight away, the club's renowned for front row characters, but you're looking at Castro, Boz, Coley, Genji, Whitey, Shoots, Marcus,
Meth.
So just Meth,
Oh, fantastic! You know what? Leicester's built DNA. It's history of big packs. ABC, go right back to the ABC. Wig, Cockers and Garth. Its history is massive, and I was fortunate enough to play with some of the best props in the world. And that's a unique character, and you see each other and you enjoy each other's company. And I've played with some absolute world class players. Very, very fortunate to be able to have done that.
And good times off it as well.
Yeah, very good times. Good laughs, mate. Very, very good characters. Yeah, very, very good.
Just some, as we sort of close to an end really, some standout games, some games that stand out for you, the ones that you're, I don't know, we'll toast when we're both retired.
Well, obviously that first one, that EDF one we just talked about, that down in Bath. Premiership final, Saints. Any of those Saints games we've won, but equally the ones we've lost sit in your mind because they're painful. Montpellier away 2014, I think, the black kit, that was a hell of a game. Cockers again going mental about a French pack, and all those things, mate. Yeah,
that was
and
good.
You win in the 79th minute. Marcus puts Nicky Gonover in to score. Oh, I love them. Clermont away, I know we lost. I know you guys won there the other day, but that was an experience for me. There's been a lot, mate. There's been a lot. I'm trying to think of any more, really. But there's been loads. It's difficult. Do you know what I've loved? There's been some tough days in the shirt, but I've had some very, very good memories in the shirt. And the tough days make the good ones even better. So, it hasn't all been plain sailing, but... and to be able to do it with you, to be able to do it with Coley, Crofty, Smithy, Tatey, some of my real close friends I've been able to play alongside, Jeff Parling, these guys, it's got some very good memories of them, and lucky to share the field with them, those sort of players.
Just that feeling of leading the boys out in a packed house here in Europe or Prem game, because they're things that you're going to do on Saturday, but after that it's hard to request to do it again, isn't it? So
no, very, very lucky to have done it X amount of times, and there's no feeling like it. Christ, you knew about it in COVID when there was no one here. God, it was horrible. But to lead them out in a packed house is a magical feeling, and a feeling you'll never forget. Definitely.
Mate, I couldn't think of a better bloke to captain us through that period when it was so tough, because of who you are and how you deal with things, and we needed that edge, that steel, that determination, which you have in abundance to get us through that bit. Only Jono's captained more times than Tigers, so that's something you should be incredibly proud of. But you felt like the end of last season, the change had come in, the club was heading in the right direction. We obviously played in a big final in Montpellier, but I remember you saying to me that you felt like it was time to, you wanted to enjoy your last season. Just that decision and just...
I think, like, I was always going to retire at the end of this season anyway. My plan was to do that. I just felt like times had moved, and I felt like it was time to it was someone else's turn, and I just wanted to support whoever that was at that point in that role. I'd loved it, but it was just, I just knew, mate, I'm a pretty guy who, I'm not emotional about it. I'm just like, it's time, done. No, it's got to be done. I had some very good conversation with Steve. I didn't feel like I had to be captain to be able to warrant me having the drive to still train and all that. I'm not that kind of character. I just felt it was time for someone else to do it, and it was time for me to step aside, let someone else be doing all of it, and I'd help them from the back. And Genji's done a wonderful job, and actually I think you've seen him mature as a person. I think he's been outstanding getting the group together. They are immensely proud of what he's done, immensely proud of what he's achieved as captain so far.
As you mentioned earlier, like captaincy helps you grow and see things differently, and Genji's done an outstanding job.
Huge,
I think you laid the foundations for him. He's come in and again done an awesome job. Just obviously this was going to be your last season.
Yeah.
We've got a bucket load of memories together, mate.
Yeah.
The ink's dry. We won't get another one unless we're playing for a Vets game. But
my body would stick that. But
it'd be wrong for me not to just acknowledge and thank you for the joy that you've given me to play alongside you. And I've loved it, mate. And my career I wouldn't look back at my career, and it wouldn't have been as fun without having you next to me. So
it's equally the same for me, mate. Like, it's been an absolute pleasure and honour to play with you, one of the best scrum masters in the world. And then to share all those lovely memories together, and to go for the hard times, but the lovely ones, mate, like that. Who gets to do that in life? Not many. So it's been absolutely awesome, and I've loved every minute of it. Thanks for putting me through a few holes now and again.
Now and then, and thanks for making all my tackles. I asked some lads, I asked all the lads, like, you know, how would they describe you and all that, and there was full of compliments, as you can only imagine. But the most consistent themes were, Tommy's a legend, tough as nails, and he's the most inspiring bloke I played with. So I think, I mean, to have that bracket with all the boys I asked, is pretty awesome, mate.
But that's what, you know me, that's all I cared about.
Yeah.
I didn't care about what people on the outside thought of me. I want what people on the inside thought of me. That's all I cared about. And it's nice that, you know, the things I pride myself on and characters I am, that they, you know, they've been said.
I know on Saturday when you lead us out one last time, mate, and I know that you'd love to maybe just chase a kick-off. You'll probably be exhausted after that.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
I know the crowd and everyone will give the reception that you deserve because you've been an incredible servant to this club. I know that you'll continue to come back because I'll still be playing, so you have to come watch me. But is there anything that you would like to say, take this moment and thank, but is there anything you want to thank and
I would like to just thank the club, the coaches who've coached me, you know, the opportunity the club gave me, the person it's kind of made me who I am, it helped me make, you know, that. I'd like to thank you, I'd like to thank Mum and Dad, ultimately, and then I'd like to thank Tiff and Maisie for being my, just thank them.
Well done, mate.
Thank you.
I know you enjoy Saturday.
Yeah.
Well done.
Cheers.
Done.
Oh, I just couldn't quite.
Nice, good, mate.